Okay, welcome everyone to the Appointed Leadership Open House. Thank you for joining us. The Junior League of Boston is an organization of women whose mission is to advance women's leadership for meaningful community impact through volunteer action, collaboration, and training. So tonight we are going to go over an overview of the appointed leadership process. Our president and executive management team elect will take turns sharing information about the 2023-2024 appointed leadership positions available. And then we will quickly go over the appointed process and timeline and then do Q&A. So before we get started, is Lima here? Jasmine?
I don't see her. Oh, yep, she just joined.
Perfect. All right. So why don't we go around and introduce the other speakers? Jasmine, let's start with you.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Howard. I'm the president of the Junior League of Boston.
You want me to go next?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lima Bobelis. I am the executive vice president elect for this year.
And Ashley?
Hello, everyone. My name is Ashley McGowan. I'm the VP of Membership elect for this year.
Cynthia?
Hey everyone, I'm Cynthia Campo and I'm the VP of Fund Development elect.
And Ainsley?
Hi everyone, I'm Ainsley, VP of Training, elect and current. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us, ladies. And I am Sarah Manigo, Vice President of Placement. This is an overview of the appointed leadership process. Every year we take the list of appointed leadership positions, present them to the board of directors for approval in March. This year, they approved them on March 8th. And then in April, the appointed leadership catalog and applications open up. And of course, in April, and often overflowing into May, members apply. Late April, late May, applications are reviewed, members are interviewed, and those interviews are conducted by the president and the EVP and EMT elect. And then, of course, late May, early June, appointed leaders are announced. So this year, we are seeking a minimum of 52 and a maximum of 72 appointed leaders, for the upcoming year. And I wanted to go through a few definitions because we often hear these terms, but many new members do not know the difference. An advisor is basically an informal mentor or a league resource for a group. They do not preside over a committee, and they do not have any members that report directly to them. A chair presides over a committee, has members that report to them, and of course, they lead people as well as a project. An example is a STEM committee chair. And then, of course, a lead is the head of a project or a task without any committee members reporting directly to them. An example is a products development lead. And of course, we encourage everyone who is interested to apply for appointed leadership. No experience is necessary. We are a training organization, and of course, training and support are always available. So without further ado, let's talk about the placements that we will be seeking appointed leaders for. Let's start with Junior League of Boston President Jasmine Howard introducing the Board of Directors appointed leadership positions.
Great. So within the board, we have 5 positions that report back to me or the board in some capacity. So strategic research and analysis, they're really focused on a issue that we're looking to solve. So right now, this year, headquarters sits empty for most of the day. They're looking into what are some other options we could be pursuing from 9 to 2, 9 to 4. That would be a revenue source. In years past, we've looked at topics regarding advocacy, member satisfaction. Sort of just depends on what members are interested in, what we're hearing as a need of the league. And strategic research is sort of the avenue that we go to sort of have someone dive in deeply to figure out sort of what next steps might look like if we would want to pursue a different course of action or make changes to something we're already doing. In the past, we've done a sustainer satisfaction survey and sort of deep dive into what sustainer satisfaction. We've done member satisfaction. So there's a few different ways that can go. It's very much a group that's sort of working on their own and then checking back in with me and with the board sort of throughout the year, and then sort of culminates in a final presentation. I'd say if you're someone who needs to have a lot of control over their schedule, it's a good position for something like that, and you're interested in sort of research, data, that sort of thing. And that's the same for the committee members. The advocacy chair, that role, so advocacy and public affairs will be a joint committee, but there will be a chair sort of focused on each aspect of advocacy and public affairs. So advocacy is really focused on educating members about advocacy through trainings, things like the Solution Summit that took place a few weeks ago, and then building on the issue that we've identified members are interested in learning more on. So right now we're focused on issues around women in the workplace. On the other side of that, public affairs is sort of our external involvement in our advocacy issues. So that chair is really identifying ways that we can take our training and learnings and implement them within the community through advocacy efforts, whether that be finding organizations to sort of join up with, to sort of help advocate on their behalf, or maybe it's we're ready to sponsor legislation that we believe should be passed, and we need to find someone in the State House or in the Senate and sort of get that started and get that process going. So that sort of comes from the public affairs side of things. I do think that both of those roles have a lot of potential for growth and potential for new ideas to continue building on what we're doing this year, but also bring in other ideas as well. And then donor relations is really going to be focused on nurturing our major donors, sort of both organizing the board to play a role in that, as well as educating members on the whole about what donor relations entails. And we're sort of spent this year really building out what that's going to look like for next year. So some of the things that we're really focused on and making sure there's like an early making the ask presentation, outreach that's going to go in lead up to Founders Day. That group would be responsible for a Founders Day event, and then also training and teaching members around things like corporate matching and just other fund or major donor roles or donor roles that could be continuous over time. That person's really going to work a lot with Katie and our operations team and sort of help us grow that avenue of the league.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Perfect. Just change the screen. Perfect. So I'm going to talk about kind of the positions that we're looking for appointed leadership within right now. Oh, wait, sorry. I was like, there we go. Within the executive management team. So right now the big focus is kind of definitely a communications chair, and the whole intent of our communications chair and committee, the chair will kind of lead a committee that is responsible for the strategic and kind of visible brand and public relations of the Junior League. There's a lot in motion. Obviously, we are a very visible organization, but there's a lot to do. And I know Lynn is on the call, and I'm not going to put you on the spot if you don't want to be, but it's very important for us to get our information and our mission out to potential prospective members, community partners, community organizations, and just a general kind of population of Boston as well. And so we are looking for someone who is very much engaged and interested in kind of communications, whether that's internally with, internally with our members, but also externally with the broader community, like I mentioned. And so there's annual strategies that need to be kind of created around the organization's message and you know, how we portray our vision and brand in the community. So we are definitely looking for someone with a kind of strategic hat and someone who is very engaged in helping us propel that mission of the Junior League. And Lynn, I'm not going to put you on the spot, but if you wanted to chime in, let me know, but we can jump to the next.
I feel like you covered it well. Thanks.
Okay, yep. Yeah, so Lynn is kind of stepping in and taking the reins for the time being. So very much appreciate her work and dedication on that. Perfect. And then so we're going to jump to the community appointed leadership positions. Let me see. So the first one is our JLB Arts. Sorry, 1 second. Where are we at here? Perfect. So our JLB Arts with our Boston Renaissance Charter School within that. And so this program, it's a group mentoring program, and the students are 3rd and 4th grade boys and girls. And so it's focused on expression through the arts and, you know, building skills like confidence, self-esteem, collaboration, and leadership. And so this placement is definitely best for someone who's interested in making an impact in the community and mentoring kind of young students and exploring a fun art education. And so you'll work with your committee to kind of develop the curriculum and the different artistic mediums and kind of work closely to create meaningful relationships for these students. And then for the grants committee. So the grants committee is, this is someone who's, you know, we want leaders who are very much focused on connections with nonprofits, working within a budget, and also figuring out ways to propel the Junior League while also propelling other community organizations. So there will be grant applications, identifying prospective agencies, organizations, and submitting the grant applications and grantees for approval by the board. So a lot of kind of organization kind of needs to go into this, but this is also an extremely fulfilling, fulfilling role. I will say I was on the kind of community service grant council in the Junior League of San Francisco when I was there. And so I found it really rewarding to be able to have a say in how the league supports other organizations. So this is something that I'm definitely very, very passionate about and would love to speak to anyone who has kind of any questions, questions on that one. Then moving down to the community impact chair. So this is, and Jasmine, if I'm speaking out of term, let me know. This is kind of what we used to call our, and probably will, maybe shifting back to our Done in a Day program. And so that is where this is the opportunity for this committee and this chair to help provide volunteer and one-off or ad hoc projects for different organizations to for our members to volunteer at. So this is, you know, right now on the calendar, I know that there's a Cradles to Crayons event. There's for the upcoming marathon, there's volunteer opportunities. That one's closed, but this is the committee that creates those volunteer opportunities. And so this is, again, for the community impact chair, a big focus on organization, kind of coordinating efforts, finding volunteer and nonprofit partners that resonate with our members, but also kind of resonate with the mission of the Junior League of Boston, because we want longer standing relationships, but we want to provide our members with opportunities to volunteer and figure out where their passions may lie. So moving down to JL Boston STEM. So this is located actually within the Boys and Girls Club in Dorchester. And so this is a mentoring program, as the name kind of states, focused on enhancing STEM education. And so this is 6th to 8th grade girls, and it's a great way to introduce science, education, technology, engineering, mathematics, and kind of bringing it all together in a big lesson, in a lesson plan and a program. So this is a really great mentorship opportunity, but also great way to empower and propel that next generation of kind of STEM leaders. And then finally, we have our Kids in the Kitchen chair. So again, this is with the Boston Renaissance Charter School. And so this is our 4th to 6th grade girls. And this is this has been a very longstanding, great relationship, but you're very much focused on providing healthy education around healthy eating, and then food safety preparation, and also creating and propelling kind of physical education. So in previous chairs and ways that this committee has operated is they've gone on field trips. They've gone to like Williams-Sonoma and learned about food, cooking, all kind of all the different aspects that go into it, and then also just reinforcing healthy living, healthy eating. And again, it's a great mentorship opportunity, and it's a great mentorship opportunity for you as a leader to provide coordination, organization, and leadership for your committee, but also these young girls in the program. So I know that's a lot, but I want to make sure that we have time for everyone else. So any questions, feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Lima.
Yeah.
And next, our membership openings with Vice President of Membership-elect Ashley McGowan.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who may have joined late, again, my name is Ashley McGowan. I am the VP-elect for membership, and I'm really excited for the 2024 fiscal year. This year has been a great year for observing and learning, and I've definitely learned a lot, and I'm really excited to see how we continue to grow out our membership department. There's no denying, obviously, that COVID has had an impact on our league, but the membership team has been doing an amazing job at rebuilding and creating a great experience for all league members, including prospects. And so our goal is very simple. We simply retain and obtain members. That's our goal, essentially, to keep it in a nutshell. And we're looking for leaders who are looking to make an impact on the experience of all of our members that are both active sustainers, transfers, new members, those that are being prospected. That's what we're really looking for. And so honing in on the recruiting side, we're looking for a recruitment chair to assist with strategic planning and executing events for for any candidates who are interested in joining the league. The team right now, they're going out to different conferences and volunteer events and really just getting our name out there. So they're doing a really good job for outreach, and that's what we're looking for next year, is to kind of continue on that. And then also one event that is actually really great in our backyard is Open Newberry. Great opportunity right there for us to get our name out there and have a team on the streets, like right in our neighborhood. So outside of recruitment, when we look at our current members, we're looking for people across the board, as I mentioned. So if you've enjoyed your new member or transfer year and want to give back to next year's class, we've got a role for you. Additionally, we're building out an active member team where there's also advisors and a committee that's around to help create content for our active members. If you enjoy event planning, we also have an events team and chair that we're looking for to help create fun and exciting events for our members across the board. So there's something for everyone, whether you're looking for something that is focused on our current members or our members coming in. So really great opportunities across the board there. And then I did want to talk about our sustainer positions as well. So I'm really excited to share that we've added additional leadership positions for our sustainers. So if you're a sustainer or you're thinking about moving into a sustainer role and still want to have responsibility, we have an entire committee designed for sustainers. So some of the changes that we have for this year is that we have a sustainer program committee chair and then also a vice chair. So essentially they're overseeing the overall sustainer group. In addition to that, there are program advisors and committee co-chairs as well for the actual for the group. And I can tell you right now, this year, the Sustainer program, they've been doing great with putting together events that are very diverse and that target the overall community and on the Sustainer side. And that includes anything from going to museums to also doing different community impact events. And we really are excited to see how this continues to grow. So if you are looking to still continue with having some responsibility, even as a sustainer, there's an opportunity right here for you.
Thank you, Ashley. And next, we will talk with Vice President of Fund Development, Cynthia Campo, about appointed leaderships under her umbrella.
All right, sounds like that's me. Can you guys hear me? Okay, you guys can hear me, right? I think so. Okay, so we have opportunities here for anyone who's an event planner or a social butterfly. We got a position for you. So I'll start with the charity gala chair. So obviously this is a huge event and a biggest fundraiser for us that we do in the spring. We like to start early in the fall to start with choosing a venue, and then also to start collecting donations as soon as possible. You can lean on me for any questions that you have. It's a super important role and it's super fulfilling to see everything come together at the end of the year and see everyone having fun and celebrating and posting pictures, but definitely a big organizational lift throughout the entire year for it. Again, you head this entire single event. And you have a whole team to help you out there. And you're also working with a budget too. So anyone who's good at kind of managing budgets, because again, the goal is to raise as much money as possible for the league. So you don't want to go crazy on choosing a venue. But for charities, venues are usually willing to be a little bit lenient. We can pick a good place, pick some good food, and then come together at the end. And then also, of course, to work very closely with the communications team to get as many people as possible and to sell as many tickets. Similarly, flagship events, kind of similar to Charity Gala in that you're organizing all these events throughout the year, except it's several more. So the two big ones, LBDI is something that we started again this year, Little Black Dress Initiative. So it's actually going on this week as a little plug. It helps raise donations for the league by saying, hey, ask me about why I'm wearing the same black dress every single day this week. And it helps raise awareness for poverty. And then also the holiday market is something that we started doing last year, and it's something we want to continue with going forward. And so what I think it's cool is if you're really creative and you really like event planning, there's a lot of opportunity here to be flexible and be creative and be unique with these events, because again, LBDI, we just restarted this year, and holiday market, we just started last year. So I have a lot of ideas. I'm open to hearing other people's ideas about how they want to format it and how we can get as many people coming as possible. So I think that's a really great opportunity if you want to be a part of that and part of the future of developing these events for the league. And again, organizational skills very important, and also like raising raising funds, raising a lot of communication with other businesses in Boston, et cetera, et cetera. And then finally, the products development. This isn't one that has a team, but it's a cool opportunity if you really like e-commerce. We're starting to get some cool stuff on the website. We just kind of started doing it like I think a year or two ago. This year we just did Vineyard Vines totes that are Boston Junior League branded. They're so cute. Another plug, if you guys want them, check your email, order them. They're like blue and red, really cute stripe. But if you have other really great ideas for products that you think women would be interested in the league, like other brands, maybe like a Lily Pulitzer, I think tends to be Kendra Scott or other kind of like popular league brands. So there's a lot of partnership opportunities there, sell some products and make a little bit of profit for the league. So yeah, anyone who's creative or who likes event planning, very organized, definitely consider these positions.
Thank you, Cynthia. And lastly, training with Vice President of Training, Ainsley Gill.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Just go to the next slide. Great. So we have 3 different roles in training, and these kind of roles are internal as well as external. So I'll kind of go through what each one entails. The first one, board seat initiative, a little bit self-explanatory, but it's really for someone who wants to kind of change the norm of nonprofit board positions, getting more women of diverse backgrounds on various nonprofits around Boston, really someone who's passionate about philanthropic leadership. This year, you'll notice we have some webinars coming up. We had one last night that was great, kind of like trainings of what you need to do to be in a board. So setting those up, working with different nonprofits throughout the community, identifying different boards that our members can sit on. So just someone who's really passionate about doing that, and you'll have a team as well to help with that. The next one we're looking for is a mentorship program lead. So the mentorship program is really also a little bit self-explanatory. So it's really for someone who wants to connect mentors and mentees together, someone with good people experience mentoring or being a mentee. And that's really planning kind of events, get-togethers, pairing people together. So a lot of people skills, a lot of organizational skills, and a little bit of event planning involved in there. And then the Jeremiah program, for those who don't know what that is, so that's more of an external role. So it's a national organization that offers strategies to help transform families from poverty to prosperity 2 generations at a time. It's for single mothers excelling in the workforce, readiness in school. So it entails a lot. Really what we want to do with them, we just ran a really successful career panel virtually with the program last week. So we're thinking we want to continue that for next year. We've got a really great template of what we'd like to do with them, working with those leads. And really, it can kind of, we're really working with them and kind of seeing where the program will evolve. So it's for someone who's passionate about helping young single moms kind of get through school with their children, and kind of giving them more of like, it is kind of a mentorship idea, but I'm really open to kind of anything that anyone wants to do with that, because I think they're a really amazing organization, and I'd love to continue to kind of grow that relationship with them. And that's what I got. Thank you.
Ainsley. So what to expect? All right, so I believe the appointed leadership catalog is now live on our website. After I close my screen, actually, I can share the link in the chat. So review the leadership catalog and consider what you would like to apply for, and a submitted application online for the specific positions. This year we will have an application that will allow you to select your top choices. And then of course, there's a second part of the application that will allow you to select positions that you would consider if you are not selected for your first choices. And then of course, you will be contacted for an interview with the EMT elect or a board of directors member, and then you accept an appointed leadership role. So the timeline for this, we expect to open the appointed leadership applications on April 1st. That's on a Saturday. We will most likely open it a day before, so please check the website. April 23rd, appointed leadership application closes. If we do not have enough applicants at that time, we will most likely expand the timeline. But again, April 23rd is our first deadline. Between April 23rd and May 31st, the applications will be reviewed and interviews conducted. And then early June, we will announce the decisions. And I believe a training will follow shortly thereafter. So right now I will open the floor up for Q&A, and I will close the screen here. Does anyone have any questions about any of the positions? That's right. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute and just pop in with your question.
Is anyone weary about leadership positions or think that they're not eligible and have any other questions? I think that's a really big one that comes up, is maybe I'm not ready, maybe I don't think I can do it. I imagine there's probably a lot of people who have that same mentality. You can do it, you should do it, apply.
I can speak to that, just knowing that this was my elect year and things happened and I just had to jump in and everyone's been great. And I, didn't have a lot of training to start with, but I've had a lot of help. So even if you don't have the experience, it's really a good learning process.
So we have a question in the chat. Typically, how big are teams you manage as a chair of a committee? That varies. Our community program teams are quite large. Community impact can have anywhere from 35 to even some years 60 members. We typically have 2 chairs for a larger committee. And then, of course, we have smaller committees like advocacy and public affairs that only have 5 to 6 members. So, again, in the event that you do accept a position that you are a little bit intimidated by, remember, we are here to support you. You will have an entire team around you, and you're never alone. No question is unwelcomed. And, we are a training organization. So if there are areas that you feel that you need to shore up, we will help you. Are there any other questions?
And the placement catalog too, I know it's, or the appointed leadership catalog has all the information and like the size of different kind of groups and committees and a little bit more background. So definitely make sure you take a look at that. It's so helpful.
And you're always welcome to reach out with any questions. My email address is placement@jailboston.org. And then in the appointed leadership catalog, you will have the correct contact name under each particular position. So if it's a community position, you would reach out to Lima at evp-elect@jailboston.org. Are there any other questions? Or would anyone like to share their experiences in appointed leadership and how it has made a positive impact in your life?
I can speak to that. So I was the VP of technology, which at the time was slated, but I went into it. I'm not a programmer. I'm not like, I have an engineering degree, but it's not necessarily something that I would have done. And I got completely thrown into it. I thought that I was going to have an elect year with somebody who was a programmer and who was going to kind of teach me the things that I didn't know. And she ended up having to step down, and I was kind of thrown into it and kind of thrown in the deep end, but I kind of liked it and like actually managed to like what I think is a pretty good job of it. And it really changed the trajectory of my career because I started to realize that I have some talent in developing technology and kind of making it work for people. So in my job, I started to take on a lot more like, questioning how are we presenting data? How are we kind of organizing our, the information that's coming in? And it really kind of changed what I see as my value proposition kind of when I'm approaching other organizations, which is kind of the point of the league. Like the whole point of the league is having a safe space to try something, find out if you're good at it, and to kind of be given the support that you need in order to kind of be successful. So I just want to make sure that people kind of understand that like you will never be ready ever. Like nobody is perfectly ready for any leadership position, and that that the whole point of being in this organization is so you can lead, fail, and become a better leader later. Not necessarily completely fail, but fail at certain things, hopefully. Fingers crossed. You'll do great.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah, I can add to what Lynn just said. My story is a little bit different, but I mean, there's definitely some underlying themes. I I've been on fund development for my entire time with the league. So going over to membership was completely foreign to me. I wasn't familiar with any of I wasn't familiar how things were set up aside from just kind of going through my own membership journey. And what I will absolutely say is that the training has been great. So I've been working under Caitlin Berger, who's our current VP, and what I've been told time after time is that the training will be there. The training will be there, and I will say it has been for me for sure. And I've definitely learned a lot of, different skills, and I've looked at budgets differently. I've looked at planning from a strategic standpoint a little bit differently. Things that I can definitely take back into my career or into other organizations. So there's a lot of transferable skills that you're absolutely going to get out of this role. And so if you're honestly thinking like, I don't know if this is a role for me, or I've never actually have done any type of placements in that committee, that's okay. It is absolutely okay. The training, the community that you're going to have, it'll all be there to help you succeed and, grow from there.
Thank you, Ashley. I have a question in the chat here. Hi, I have a question about member appointed positions. Is there only one? Specifically Strategic Research Analysis Committee member. With the Strategic Research and Analysis Committee, they can appoint up to 2. Were there any other positions that you were asking about? Okay. Would anyone else like to share their story?
Yeah, I can go. In terms of appointed positions, so after my new member year, provisional year, the current chairs had spent 2 years as the chairs, and at that time you had to roll off after 2 years. And they had suggested, they're like, oh, you should apply to be a chair of this next year. And I really hadn't given it any thought up until that point, but I was like, oh, they suggested it, I'll apply, and thoroughly enjoyed it. So at that time, it was a community placement at Jermaine Lawrence Youth Villages, which was a residential treatment facility for girls who are predominantly in the foster care system. There were a few that had been placed there sort of by family, but on the whole, these were kids who were in the foster care system and had the option potentially to come out of it after they'd completed this treatment, but they did a one-on-one buddy program. And then we also eventually had a run club, which turned into more of, as Lynn said, sometimes you have to learn through failure that certain things don't work. So we showed up to do run club, and we realized they came out like dressed in like platform shoes and just things that if we went running in, it would be dangerous. And so at first we thought, oh, they need running equipment. So we got all sorts of shoes, exercise clothes, whole 9 yards, got that to the placement. Then we come the next week, and long story short, the staff really didn't want to run. It came down to they weren't really interested in running, and they were required to run with us. So we shifted to on-campus physical activities, and we'd come like one week we did Zumba, another week we had a yoga instructor come, and we just sort of pivoted to do things where the staff didn't have to participate if they didn't want to, but we were still encouraging exercise and movement. But I think that was one of the things, like we couldn't figure out what was going wrong in the beginning. And then as the placement sort of continued that first 2 months, it really dawned on us, like we need to pivot, and think the kids would be okay with it. But like the holdback was really sort of on the staff side. So that was sort of a good experience of, figuring out we had a problem, figuring out how to solve it, but still like having a great time. And the kids we worked with there were fantastic. So, I mean, I was probably, when I came into the league, I was right out of college. And I think I was very hesitant to have a leadership role where like most of the other people on the committee were older than me. I think that was the first like sort of like, can I do this question for me? But I ultimately just really enjoyed it. And then that sort of dictated how I chose other placements. And I also like the ability to schedule around my schedule, which was, you know, an added bonus. I don't think that should be a reason you do anything, but it's definitely an added bonus.
And now look at you now, you took over the
Yeah.
entire organization.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jasmine. Does anyone else want to share a story?
I can share. I think it was my first active member year. And I was one of the co-chairs of the gala and actually the bachelor auction. And so it was a very crazy, hectic time, but my co-chairs and I are still like the best of friends. And I think just from a connectivity perspective, I think that's also a huge aspect of being part of the league, part of kind of a leadership position. And it was also really great management and leadership opportunity, just being a chair of a committee and trying to set and manage expectations, try to set and manage a budget, kind of strategic plan. I would say that was, especially right out of college, that was one of the most kind of eye-opening experiences for me, because it really put a lot of things into perspective, into focus. And, you know, like I said, not for nothing, it was just great to basically just be like up to your elbows and work with your new best friends, and you worked really well together and helped you kind of like learn and adapt. And, you know, I just think that there's a lot of skills that you learn personally and professionally, but also like the soft skills and, you know, just the friendships you develop are like invaluable.
Thank you so much, Lima. Does anyone else have any questions, or would anyone else like to share a story? All right, so everyone, we hope you will consider applying, even if you are not 100% sure that you would like to accept a position. I strongly encourage you to go through the process, if nothing else for the experience, and to you know, learn more about how we work, and of course, what would be expected of you in the event that you want to select the option in an upcoming year. But if anyone else has any questions, we'll ask one more time. Excellent. All right. How would everyone like to have 20 minutes of their life back? Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Ladies, thank you so much for speaking with us this evening about the positions for next year. We really appreciate it. And thank you for your leadership.
And thank you, Sarah,
Thanks,
for all
Sarah.
the work on this.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Apply, apply, apply.
Apply, apply, apply.